Strike while the racket's hot with the Babolat Pure Strike 100 2024. In this fourth generation, Babolat updates the Pure Strike family with new technologies and a subtle cosmetic change. The Pure Strike 100 offers FSI Control technology, which features tighter string spacing for increased precision, as well as control frame technology for better stability, and NF2 flax inserts in the handle and hoop for additional comfort. The racket offers a speedy swing weight of 4 points headlight balance and a 63 stiffness rating. I have play tested every generation of the Pure Strike 100 and I was excited to report that this generation was the easiest for me to adjust to. I didn't really have any break-in time like the previous versions, and I think a couple reasons, one being that I'm preferring just slightly more control-oriented frames these days, as well as I think Babolat made a pretty user-friendly frame in general. Now right off the bat on the baseline, I found a pretty nice ratio of power and control, maybe slightly more control-oriented, but it is the most powerful racket of the Pure Strike family for me. However, not as powerful as the Pure Drive or the Pure Aero lines. I also really liked the combination of stability and maneuverability. It's a pretty whippy frame, so I was able to generate that racket head speed, and I didn't really have any issues with the stability at all. Now I thought this also offered a pretty forgiving sweet spot, as well as a slightly higher launch angle compared to the other Pure Strike models, and this just helped me generate a little bit easier depth. Now when it came to spin potential from all areas of the court, whether I was on the baseline, hitting ground strokes, returns, up and net serves, I thought the spin potential was just okay for me, around average. I wasn't seeing anything exceptional, but it was getting the job done. Overall, I kept going back and forth between the two 100 Pure Strikes, this 16x19 as well as the 16x20, on which was my favorite in the line. And I think I'm gonna give the slight edge to the 16x20. I was just playing a little bit better.
Like Brittany, I was on previous generations of this Pure Strike 100, and this one plays and feels very similarly to those models. I will say that I think the biggest compliment I can give this racket is that I felt like I can hit all my shots well with it. It's very fast feeling in the hand, very maneuverable, so I was able to generate lots of racket head speed for spin and power. Also, that maneuverability was great for those kind of pickup shots at my feet and for those reactionary volleys up at net. I don't think this racket has a lot of free power, but it does have great control thanks to that denser string pattern in the sweet spot. I will say that I think the biggest difference between this model and the previous one is that this one feels more flexy. Not to say that it is a flexible racket, but it definitely is something that I noticed. For me, I would like about 4 to 7 more grams of overall mass to this racket just to help me get a little bit more weight behind my shots, but I was fairly happy with the racket in stock form. Overall, this racket checked a lot of the right boxes for me, and because it is more maneuverable and more user-friendly than the Pure Strike 98, this is my favorite one of the family.
For the 2024 Pure Strikes, I was on 3 different play tests, and I have to say this Pure Strike 100 was the easiest to use of the 3. I found it to be livelier than the Pure Strike 100 1620 and the 98 16x19. I wouldn't say it was a powerful racket, still lots of control as I would expect from a Pure Strike racket. However, the launch angle was a little bit more generous, so I found easier depth. And because of that easier depth, I really liked this one when I was pushed back off the baseline. I was able to work myself back into the point more easily with hitting some nice deep shots. As I move forward to net, I really did like the feel of this racket. I found it to be more comfortable on mishits than the previous version. This one felt stable and I had good control over the direction of my volleys. On serves, I was liking the amount of spin I could get. Not tons of power, but I liked the placement. On returns, I really liked how quickly this racket was swinging, and so I could be quite aggressive with my shots. Overall, I really like this update, and I do find that if you're interested in a 100 square inch control racket, you should check this one out.
From the first hit, I really enjoyed how light and whippy this Babolat Pure Strike 100 felt. I was getting good spin on the ball, plenty of launch angle too, so my top spin shots were going high over the net, dipping well inside the baseline, kicking up nicely. I was getting great spin and solid pace on my ground strokes, and I could really just accelerate that racket through the ball really well with this racket. On approach shots too, if the ball was low, I could get it up and over the net quickly because the racket was just so easy to whip through. And I was getting some nice angles as well. I would have liked a little bit more stability up at net, and I would probably weight this one just a little bit at 10 and 2 and just add weight until I got the stability and power I wanted out of the racket without losing too much of that whippiness that I really enjoyed when I was rolling the ball with spin. And on serve too, it's the one area where I wanted a bit more pop out of this one. I was hitting good pace, getting good spin, I was serving very consistently, but I found even my biggest serves were coming back, sometimes with interest, and I just wanted a bit more plow through, a bit more penetration on the first serve, especially out of this racket. But in stock form, super fast, super easy racket to use, ton of spin, and I could be really consistent with it.
We play tested the Babolat Pure Strike 100 with Babolat RPM blast at around 52 pounds. For more information on this racket or any others, please check us out at Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.